Good afternoon. Welcome into Action 2 News Fastcast. Welcome into the newsroom. We are interrupting our local news live to tell you a little bit about what we're working on here today. So we'll get right to it. A big story out in Milwaukee for preparations are underway for the Republican National Convention next year. Play some of that video there for you. So today they had a media day where we could kind of get a walkthrough of the venue to figure out where everything is, where the nominees will be, all of those things. So the convention is where the RNC will pick its nominees for president and vice president for the 2024 election. As I said, media kind of got a walkthrough to figure out all of the planning stages. You know, we're about 32 weeks away, which sounds like a long time, but in the planning world, it is not a long time. So we talked to, some of the local impact of major events in the state. This puts Wisconsin on the map once again, as does the draft coming up as well here in our area. But really, this kind of proves that Wisconsin, once again, a battleground state, a big focus coming into the elections. Wisconsin plays a really big role in the political sphere of the state. So the RNC will be held in Milwaukee of next year. And then just a month later, the Democratic National Convention will be held in Chicago. And so experts are saying, the Midwest this kind of really points to how important our state and this area will be in the upcoming election for president in 2024. So we'll have more on that walkthrough later on. Moving on to another story that we are following today, the Kansas City Chiefs are headed to Lambeau Field this weekend to take on the Packers. We talked to the Oneida Nations, and this is something we've talked to them in the past about as well, but for years, Oneida Nation has joined the fight against offensive sports team nicknames. With the Chiefs coming to Lambeau Field, we checked in with the tribal chairman on how the nicknames and chants impact Indigenous people and their culture, especially here in our area. So we'll hear more a little bit from them as well coming up tonight at 5 and 6. And then I want to draw your attention to this story. So Oshkosh Police Canine Magic unexpectedly passed away. It was their therapy dog. She died of cancer last weekend. So she was a therapy dog and helped provide emotional support for police and even community members. So they have a memorial planned on December 12th, which the public is invited to. It will be held at the Best Western Premier Hotel in Oshkosh. Doors will open at 9:30 in the morning. The service is expected to be at 10 p.m. So let's take a live look here at our Manitowoc Skycam. Beautiful out there right now, but we'll get a little bit more of a closer look at the weather as we bring in David Ernst here. Hi, David.
Good afternoon.
What are we looking like outside?
As you saw in Manitowoc and similar conditions elsewhere in northeastern Wisconsin, we're seeing some decent sunshine, just a little high, thin cloud cover on the horizon, and we'll keep some of those high clouds around. But in general, tonight, we're expecting relatively clear conditions, and that will set us up for a potential viewing of the northern lights. There's a coronal mass ejection headed towards the planet, and it should peak late tonight or really early morning hours tomorrow. And as the energized particles move overhead, that could lead to those northern lights. So what you'd want to do is get yourself away from city lights, probably give yourself at least 15 minutes, a half an hour for your eyes to adjust to the darkness, and then, as the name would suggest, look to the north, and you may just catch a glimpse of those northern lights, a beautiful light show possible in northern Wisconsin, but not a guarantee. We are going to see clouds start to roll back in, especially by 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And then as we work our way into the afternoon hours, we'll see those clouds thicken as a storm system passes to our south. Some rain, snow showers down towards Milwaukee and into southern Wisconsin. If you have travel plans that would take you to Milwaukee or Chicago, you will want to take a closer look at that forecast for those areas. And now on to our extended forecast here. So here's the wide view of that system passing to our south on Friday. Saturday looks like a relatively quiet day, and then we get into Sunday. Of course, we already touched on the Packers-Chiefs game, and it looks like at least in the morning hours of Sunday, we could be in store for a round of rain, snow mix across eastern Wisconsin as temperatures rise into the afternoon. Perhaps there's a bit more rain mixing in, and it looks like it's more of a daytime hours type event. I wouldn't rule out a few flakes flying in the evening as the game is actually being played, but for now it looks like most any activity, whether it be rain or snow, would come in during the morning and then start to taper off towards the afternoon. We're also watching another system that could impact the area on Tuesday, so we'll have more on all of this coming up a little bit later on Action 2 News.
All right, thanks so much, David. We'll check in then. Let's go now to our headlines of the day and what's coming up in some of our shows later on. So at 4 o'clock, Aisha Morales has a report from the First Alert Safety Desk. It's a message to parents and educators, so listen up. The federal government will be offering free rapid COVID tests to schools. We know that we are in the midst of respiratory systems, so testing is extremely important so that you know the difference between the cold, the flu, and COVID, and RSV as well. So she'll talk a little bit more about that. Then at 4:30, Chris Roth sits down with the DNR to talk about the gun deer hunt season. He's going to talk about the good, the bad, the numbers, all of it. So we'll have a little bit more of an in-depth conversation there. And then at 5, you're going to want to tune in for this heartwarming story. Emily Riley actually works on this today. She's out in Howard Elementary School. A veteran from Alabama visited a second grade class there to thank them for writing him and his fellow active veterans letters for Veterans Day. Sent them letters, and we're told that no matter how many letters they request from this class, that they always get a handwritten letter for all of them, which is really cool. So we'll have a little bit more about that meet and greet that you don't want to miss. I'm told that the veteran, this is a really neat story of preservation and history kind of all combined into one. So we'll have that in our small towns tonight at 6. But for right now, we will send you back to your local news live programming. Thanks for joining us for the First Alert Fastcast. We'll see you on Action 2 News at 4.